hello everyone. My name is Chester. I'm from Singapore. I'm actually an educator, also a problem solver, and finally, I'm also a software engineer. Okay, so let me start with this diagram. Yeah, so may I ask you a question? It's like throughout your life of learning, when you're a student, when you're a working adult, do you ever experience this when you try to learn something new? Let's say you want to learn maths when you are young in primary school, then you feel so frustrated that you want to throw the book out of the window, or you try to learn science, or you try to learn a programming language. JavaScript is so hard to learn. Yeah. So with this issue that happened to you, if you say yes, then you're at the right place. So today I'm going to present to you how to become an efficient learner. So let me just set the stage for everyone. Whatever I say in this talk, right, is a sharing session. And then what I present and the findings is actually backed by neuroscience. Okay, they are evidence-based. So feel free to also feedback if you think that is not the correct way, because it's what I share today. Yeah. Okay, so I've been starting to come up with a learning plan since the COVID. And I've attended some courses like learning how to learn, and then I strengthen actually how I learn. And then made me realize that actually how I learn since I'm young. So I make I use some correct technique, and there are some technique which I correct along the way while I discover how to become an efficient learner. Okay. Okay, so I'd like to present to you the simple approach. Okay, so it is very simple. And then at the end of it, let's try it together. So the first one is switch, followed by interaction, metaphor, Pareto principle, locations, and finally, everything is again. Let me start by telling you a story. Okay, meet Mary. So Mary is a front-end developer, like some of us. I know some of you are back-end, some of you are full stack, but she's a front-end developer. So as usual, as a developer, right, you can understand that every week, right, it start with a sprint, then she's going to work on a new user story. Okay, Mary, she don't respond to me. Yeah, so she's trying to solve a problem now. So I tried to call her, then she did not hear that I'm calling her. There's no response. So I know that she's focusing intensely on issues. Okay, she's trying to solve it, and then she spent time to analyze the problem again and again. And she's stuck. She was stuck for hours. So I was very frustrated and I feel like crying. Okay, and all of you also have some are developer. Most of you are developer, right? So can you give her some advice? Like what can she do? So just go to this menti.com, right? You key in this code 6365557. Can you give her some advice? What can she do since she's stuck? Okay, I just wait for a while for the response to come in. Okay, so there are a couple of responses about mainly like take a break, go out for a walk. Okay, take a break is winning, and then there's a take a nap. Yeah, then go out for a walk, relax, do nothing. Yeah, you're right. Nobody talk. Nobody choose like or someone say eat fish soup. Okay, great. Yeah, that's also another way. Yeah, yeah. I know now it's lunchtime. Maybe feel a bit hungry. Yeah, relax and do nothing. Okay, so the take a little break actually win the her advice. Okay, so let's go back and see what she do. Okay, so most of you say take a break. Yeah. So let's ask the brain what can she do. Okay, before we review the answer. So Mr. Brain, can you explain what can she do? So the brain will tell you that actually there's two modes of thinking. right? So there is a focus mode and a diffuse mode. What do you mean by a focus mode? So in focus mode, right, you only do one thing. So you channel all your energy and focus to do one thing. Like in the story, right, Mary is trying to solve a problem. So she's going to channel all her energy and focus and concentrate to solve that problem. Okay. But remember that human being, right, there is a limit to your energy. So there's a time that when your energy will run out. Okay, so with that, let me go to the next mode, which is the diffuse mode. So what is a diffuse mode? So diffuse mode is a mode of thinking whereby your brain go into daydreaming. Just daydream, do nothing. Like in the survey, some of you choose do nothing, take a break. Yeah. So when you do that, right, you're actually in the diffuse mode. And let your mind wander. Okay. And in diffuse mode, right, you really must literally do nothing. Do not go to Facebook and surf the Facebook. Then that is not in the diffuse mode. Okay, looking at this lens, right, I want to further go deep dive into actually what is focus and diffuse. So if you look at this lens at the center of it, right, you focus your lens. If you're a photographer or you like to do photography, so you use your lens and you focus. So in the center of it, you can see it's a very focused. You channel all your energy on one area. But when you go diffuse, right, you can see that actually the rest of the area is gray. So when you go in the diffuse mode, you actually engage all parts of your brain. Okay, so not right now you know actually what is the focus mode and what is the diffuse mode. Can you just tell me actually which one do you think serve the purpose? Can you just put in your chat and just throw out and just say which one you think is best for learning or more efficient for learning? Is it focus or is it diffuse? Yeah. If you don't want to write full, right, you can just F or D or. Okay, I think a lot of people write focus. Yeah. Anyone choose diffuse? Okay, I think there are someone choose diffuse, and yeah, most of you choose focus, and some one or two of you choose diffuse, and then one or two of you choose both. And what's the meaning of hero? Okay, maybe I guess a hero from Drew means go and watch a movie. I don't know. Maybe that's also in diffuse mode. Okay, so that's the answer. Yeah. So before I review answer, right, I come to the first point of S. So this is switch. Okay, so if switch, actually the answer is both. Let me explain why. Okay, so in focus mode, right, your brain engage the front part of your brain, which is the prefrontal cortex. So on average, right, every human, right, every person will have 4 slot of working memory. So I'm saying on the average, I mean, some gifted people may have more, but for myself, as an average human, I have 4 slots. So how your brain works, right? They accept signal or data transfer, right, into your brain through your senses. So you watch a video, you listen to podcasts, right? You absorb data in. So once the information are in, right, they are break up into bits. You know that it's something like networking, lah. When you transfer information, you'll be in packet, right? So you have 4 slots. So the moment the information come in, then you need to fill up the 4 slot. So normally when you learn something, right, you're able to remember 4 items because you have 4 slots. Okay, so in focus mode, you engage all your brain, the prefrontal cortex, right, and use up also your working memory. But then you remember that working memory is only 4 slots. So what if you need the 5th item? Okay, so when you're solving a problem, right, what happens is you're going to retrieve existing knowledge. Let's say, for example, you're solving a problem, a maths problem, which you have solved before. So the 4 slot is not enough. So what your brain do is it will go through the connection, the neuron connection, and go to your long-term memory to retrieve patterns. It means those questions that you solved before, retrieve from a long-term memory and go put in the slot, in the 4th slot, and then you will try to solve the problem. So if you focus, right, it's very useful for you to solve problem that you've encountered before. Okay, So if you solve this math problem, something similar, go to long-term memory. Yeah, it's something like a RAM and hard disk. Okay, but then the problem is long-term memory. Okay, it's something like a warehouse, a big warehouse. Let's say, for example, you go to a supermarket, you want to buy a cereal. So the issue is, are you able to locate the cereal? Sometimes you need to go to the correct department, the correct shelf to get the cereal right. So imagine that everything is in the big warehouse. You must get to the correct location, then you can retrieve it. The retrieval part can be done when there's a strong connection. So when you go to diffuse mode, actually your brain is actually organizing the information and also try to link it to your past experience. So by going to diffuse mode, it is very useful for you to solve a problem that you have never ever encountered before. Okay, so that's why when Mary is stuck, right, she will go to diffuse mode to try to don't think anything, disengage the brain, don't use the brain anymore, let the brain take over. The brain will organize your information and try to link it to your past experience and then to form the connection. Okay, so basically that. But then again, you need to come back to focus mode. You cannot like go to take a rest forever and then you don't come back. So that will be a procrastination really. So you need to toggle between focus and diffuse back to focus. So that's what happened when you need to solve a problem, especially for new problem, which you never encountered before. Okay, so let's move on. Yeah. So what are the activities that you can trigger your diffuse mode? These are the three main group of activities, like exercise, sleep, and relax. So let me just talk a bit about exercise. Okay, so with who you are today, right, different from who you are yesterday. Because every day, right, there is a new neurons form. It's like the old neuron will die and a new neuron will take over. So it's like the human world, the old folks will pass away, then the youngsters will come and take over, right? So it happened to your neuron also. So if you exercise, right, it will help you to strengthen the new neurons, and then connect them up together, and then store in the long-term memory. So when you need to retrieve it, right, the connection is there, right? It's something like a networking circuit. Okay, then how about sleep and relax? So normally when you sleep, before you sleep, right, it's good to get stuck in a problem or learn something new. So when you go to sleep, right, your brain will remove away all the irrelevant information that is not of importance to you. Let's say, for example, you want to emphasize this important concept, then you revisit again, right? The connection between your neuron, right, will be strengthened. But then, like, let's say, for example, every day you just go to like take this bus, you will never remember like who take the bus with you, because this is something like nothing interesting. It's just another boring day. So, but then your brain has a limitation to how much you can store. So when you sleep, right, your information will be reorganized. You know, something like the bonsai. So when the Japanese, they trim the bonsai, the plant, and it's very nice for bonsai. So that's what your brain do when you go to sleep and relax. So that's why it's useful when you want to solve, you want to be creative, right? You go into the diffuse mode. Okay, so how to solve problem? Yeah, this is I already mentioned. So the brain will tell you that, okay, you need to switch me from diffuse to focus back to diffuse, right? Just it's a cycle where you can, in focus, you use the prefrontal cortex, and in diffuse, you use the all part of your brain. Okay, so sometimes it pays not to be too busy. If you're always busy, always focused, then you can never ever go to the diffuse mode. Okay, so now stop working if you are stuck and then switch your brain into diffuse mode. Okay, and sometimes be bored. Be bored is good, right? Allow the diffuse mode of thinking to appear. Then where you have come out of creative ideas. So be bored meaning that you disengage your brain. Do not surf the Facebook, go to Instagram, watch another YouTube video. So that is not in diffuse mode. You still engage your brain. Okay, just want to clarify this part. Okay, so one technique, right, that you can use to switch between focus and diffuse, right, is use the Pomodoro technique. This is the tomato timer, where you break up your learning session. Let's say you have 5 hours of training, right, which you want to learn. Maybe you just break up into a session of 1 hour, okay? Then let's say you break up a session of 30 minutes, then you focus for 25 minutes, and then you go into diffuse for 5 minutes, okay? Then can I ask you a question? It's like, why it must be 25 minutes? Okay, let me explain to you based on scientific research. This is neuroscience research. So everybody, right, every human being, I must say, everyone, okay, include the most successful people, wanted the easy way out. So when you start to learn something new, right, your brain will give you a signal, say it's painful. Okay, it's painful to learn something new because you are going out of your comfort zone. So why not just take a break and watch movie? Okay, this signal. So this signal, right, will actually last for 20 minutes. So if you go with the flow, and then, okay, you do not reject the signal. You must actually go with the flow and then acknowledge you have this signal because it happened to everyone. So you go with the flow and you focus, and then if you can break out of 20 minutes, right, this signal of pain will go away. So the moment you reach 25 minutes, it doesn't mean that you have to stop. You can carry on for to 1 hour. Okay, so the rule of thumb, there isn't really a rule of like what's the percentage, but from my experiment, right, you can go 80-20. So let's say your learning time is 1 hour, right? You give yourself 15 minutes of focus and then like 10 minutes of diffuse. Okay, so if your learning time is longer, then you just 80-20 lah. So this is actually a guide. But the guideline is you must go beyond 20 minutes for your pain, the signal of pain to go away. So when you go away, you are in the flow, not just go with the flow and continue to learn. Yeah. Okay, so back to Mary. Yeah, she go take a walk to Marina Bay, okay, then relax her mind, enjoy the nature. Yeah, she completed her user story. Now she's happy. Okay, so she continued to do her project well, solve one user story after another, and 1 year passed. Okay, and then it's time for a yearly review, which we're going to do some for myself. Yeah. So the next year plan, actually, after discussion with the CTO and the MD, is to be a full stack engineer. Okay. So then she will discuss with CTO and say, actually, after the front end, the next step you do is to learn Node.js. Okay, so she wants to start to learn Node.js. I know there are many Node.js experts here. So can you advise her what is the best method to learn Node.js? Okay, can you go to Menti again and then key in this code 6365557 and then just advise her actually what is the best way to learn Node.js from all your expertise, all the experts here. Okay, practice with a small Node.js project. Yeah. Okay. What's your Udemy course? I think there's some. Yeah. There's no right and wrong. I mean, it's based on your past knowledge. You have some experience learning Node.js. Okay, I think just okay. Some of you say take notes. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so most of you say practice with a small Node.js project. Okay, so due to the time, I just move on. Okay, so I will advise the brain again, right? What are the how to do it, then I will review the answer. What is the answer? So there are two types of learning actually. There are passive learning. There's active learning. So passive learning actually you just read a book, watch a video, or listen to podcasts. Then for active learning, right, you recall. So what do you mean by recall is okay. You watch a Udemy video, right? 5-minute video. Okay, you stop the video and then you write down. What actually try to recall. Okay, if you can recall 4 items, you basically use out the 4 slot. But you can, it's okay if you actually cannot recall the 4 items or just recall 1 item, 2 items, it's okay. Then you go back again, watch again, pause again, and recall. Okay, and the issue, the idea is to personally experience it. The experience what the trainer go through. Then you can also practice. You can never ever learn maths by watching your maths teacher do maths. You need to practice. you take notes. Yeah. So by taking notes, also a form of recall. You go and pause the video. Basically, you don't watch the video. You watch already, you try to remember, you pause, and then just take note and see what you can recall. Ask question. The learning is never a one-way street. You never like the instructor tell you this, and you just listen. You need to ask question and clarify what you do not know, right? Okay, asking question doesn't mean you only ask the instructor. Right? You can ask yourself also, or question yourself. Okay, is there other way of better way of learning? I mean, you come up with a solution. Is there a better solution? Okay, and then finally solve problem. Of course, doing a project, right, is also like part of solving problems. Okay, so with this, I go to the second point, which is interaction. So you cannot just absorb the material. You need to absorb like material, and then you need to produce. So you absorb the material. It can be a video, you can book, you can audio. Is up to you. But the trick, right, is to engage all your senses. So if you can watch a video, it's best to like watch a video, read a book, audio. So all your senses are engaged. And then at the same time, when you take down notes, right, you actually engage your kinesthetic sense. So in that sense that you're actually able to produce and strengthen the connection and place the chunk into your long-term memory. Okay. And back to Mary, she signed up for Udemy course. She take notes of important concept. And then when she reached the event loop, right, she don't understand what is asynchronous. She start again. So now she learned the lesson. It's like no point to get stuck. Let's go for lunch. So about eating, right, she noticed there's one waiter in the restaurant. And then she think, okay, it's a busy restaurant. There are tables, there are waiter. There's only one waiter, and then there's a chef. So what if the waiter is actually the single thread, right? If you know the event loop of the Node.js, then the table is a client, and then the chef is a database. Okay. So if you look at the busy restaurant, then I can take a look at let's say the waiter is serving table 3, right? Then they take the order to the chef, and then table 1 wanted ask for the waiter to take the order, and then while serving table 1, the food is ready for table 3, and then the table 2 want to take order. So they put the task right into the event queue. So after serving table 1, he will go and take the food from the chef and then pass it to table 3. And after he will proceed to free up himself and then do the task that is in the queue. So with that diagram and link associate with the busy restaurant, the waiter, right? Mary got it. So the next step, right, is actually the metaphor. So metaphor actually help you to experience. So your personal experience always help you to remember and recall a topic. Yeah. So remember your traveling experience. Then if you have another boring day, right, you can never ever remember anything. So there are other things like analogy, visualization, and especially story helps. Because you actually engage your emotion and you're able to remember it well. So what's next after Node.js? Cool. So let's take a look at the backend roadmap. Okay, so there's so much thing to learn. Oh no, the roadmap is so long. Then going down, oh my God, so much to learn. How to be a backend developer? How to make it? Let the brain help again. Okay, let me help. So the next one I want to talk about is the Pareto principle. Okay, Pareto principle state that if you can learn 20% of the most rigorous skill, you're able to get 80% result. It's actually a universal law. So what Mary do, right, is to pick the topics, 20% of the topics to learn, and then that is use 80% of the time. So how to do that, right? Let's take a look at some of the JD. So she just Google some JD and then she take a look, say, oh, okay, most of the time, right, actually for the backend developer, they will use data storage because if you have a request from the front end, the request, then most of the time you will need to engage the data storage to get the response and give back to the front end. Yeah. So that is the 20% of the skills that a backend developer will use 80% of the time. So let's see all mentioned data storage. Then so that will be the 20% of skill that Mary must learn, right? Because it's used 80% of the time of the backend developer. Okay, so that will be the next step, and then she's happy. Okay, so you just keep coding and then just spend the whole day at the desk, start again, try to yawn. I'm also very tired. Keep coding until so tired now. Yeah. So the brain will tell you, get up and move to another location. Don't just sit at your table there. So with that, we move to another step, which is locations. Okay, so move to another location to learn. While going there, right, you actually can go into diffuse mode. Let's say, for example, you want some peace and quiet, like go to a park or just to take a rest. Because the environment actually makes you a different person. Then you can go to a cafe okay, why do you need to go to another location? There's a reason for it. Remember when you study, normally you study in your room or in your classroom. But you take tests, right? You normally will not take tests at the location that you study. So you take tests in the exam hall. So if you move, like I study in my room and then I move to the cafe to do recall, right? It actually helped me to adapt to test environment, so that when I go to a test, my brain will not be nervous. I really like prepared. I will need to recall in another environment, in a test environment, which is different from where you study. So my moving around actually help you. And then you really want to focus when you want to go to a library when it's actually the environment will help you, right? And like environment will change a person. Let's say you want to watch a soccer match. You watch at home and you go to the stadium, and then they you can feel the atmosphere, and then there's a goal, you shout. Then it's different, right? It's not the same when you watch on the screen. So environment can change a person actually. And change a person means it change your brain pattern. Okay, and then finally, everything is a game. So remember when you are a kid, right? You are not afraid of failure. You just play, and then if you feel you fall down, you just get up and walk. Or you don't care about what people say about you. But then as a adult, right, you forget about all these things. So everything is a game. Believe in a growth over a fixed mindset. And believe in internal over external loci of control. I say for this COVID situation, right? There's a study that 2/3 of people who actually get out of COVID because get out of COVID from depression. So what they do is they try to learn something new, and they help others. Yeah. So for this COVID, right, you can also see that like what I can control is I can wear a mask, I can stay at home. But then whether the virus will spread, then it's not my control. So just forget about what you cannot control. Focus on the thing that you can control. Yeah, so this is the simple approach. Okay, it's really simple to be an efficient learner. You can be one too, so why not start now? Do you have any